Okay, welcome back. We left off after a pretty intense little fight um, in our last session. We had entered the graveyard that spans all around the mausoleum for miles. That grand cathedral looking gothic thing in the middle of the graveyard. And as we were traveling through, we were trying to listen to some of the advice given to us in riddle form from the people we'd encountered in the town and back in Dustport. And we followed the little lights, followed them around the will o' the wisps, and managed to make a way through this weird, ever shifting kind of terrain that is the graveyard. As we move, we find little snippets of graveyards and scenes of death and things that look like they came from various parts of the world that weren't necessarily all here. It's known that this place has always been a great big graveyard, but it's like layers of other parts of other places where people die in abundance are kind of layering on one on top of the other and moving around this giant cathedral. And we followed the will o' the wisp until we met grieving mother, and then also a dead body that arose not quite as a zombie, but as some kind of vengeful spirit, bringing in some of their kin around that are all still somewhat lingering. And we had some pretty intense battle with some wraiths and some ghost dogs and all kinds of things that we managed to get through. And we took a bit of a rest, a short rest, near the giant oak tree. But after we had, I guess, right after we had finished our fight, the path started to become uh, revealed to everyone. So, like the perceptions of what was around, that were these. Is almost like we were in some kind of big dome bubble of some kind of specific event, and by triggering something in the event, it allowed some of that overlapping perceptions to fade away and kind of open up the yellow brick road, so to speak, off towards the mausoleum and a path that you could see that winds towards that giant cathedral. So before we set off, we were pretty roughed up, so we set to do our rest and prepare before we moved forward. Right before kind of our last set of encounters, we had noticed that the clouds and storm started to swirl as though that cathedral itself was in the eye of some giant storm, of the way that energy was flowing in and around, and the weather had started to change. Um, the storm has not yet arrived, but it is gathering and building in intensity directly over the cathedral. And that's kind of where we left off. It was just kind of absorbing the surroundings, figuring out what was going on, and trying to find our way forward. It is notable that the spirits have been restless and ever present, something that is unusual even for this place. Um, and there are many that are both lingering longer than they're supposed to, and also in some way unresolved, either unwilling or unable to move on, or anchored for one reason or another, uh, all throughout. So that's kind of where we're picking up. Was right off of the oak tree. Uh, we were still midday after we'd set out that morning to the graveyard and made our way through. And so after our short rest, we were only just now approaching midday.
Hey, Dagan. Psst. Dagan.
Yes.
I am writing a new song. It's about big scary graveyard and some, I'm not sure what to call it yet. A really bad thing is like using like the dead people to power it. Um, so working on the tune.
Do you think it might be best if we curtailed the limericking until we can find a way through or by that storm that's hovering over our destination?
What storm? Oh, that storm. I hadn't considered that. Yeah, that looks like a doozy. We probably should hurry.
Yeah, do
Quite.
the writing in your head.
But
Yes,
what
I
do you think?
concur.
What do you think about the idea that the spirits are like powering it? You know what I mean? Like coal in a fire. I got this idea. What do you think about that, Armaros? Pats Armaros on the rump.
I think we should go this way.
I
Points
follow
out the path
Amaros.
and starts walking towards the crypt.
But before I walk away from the oak tree, I want to try magical tinkering on it
Okay.
and see if I can touch the tree because I'm not sure if it's magical or not because it did move, and see if I can light up the tree so we can find our way back this way.
It is a real tree, um, although it is definitely has magical properties to it. Um, roll your tinkering check. See what you're gonna. What kind of tinkering are we doing here?
It's just magical tinkering, so I'm just touching it to see if I can make it light up like a beacon. So intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good roll.
Yeah, that's a very reasonable. It is. It has a. Uh, it is literally rooted in arcane and divine magic, and so you can tap into its innate power and cause it to light up like a beacon.
Cool. And then I'll follow everyone else.
Tralala.
The pa-
Keep your songs in your head while we're doing this.
In
the
my
path
head.
opens up on a rather large cobbled path that kind of sways, or so it's not a straight one, but it kind of maneuvers around different sections. And as you pass, as you start walking away for a little bit, um, the the buildings and some of the immediate graves and things that like the building that you had encountered, like the little bitty church, the rural church where the lady was sitting outside of. Those things disappear, but the oak remains constant throughout the ever shifting perceptions, still lit up like a beacon. And you continue to walk, and there's a point where the path, as it winds, it comes to a point where it Ys. And right at the Y is what looks to be like it's almost like a little tower in a way. It's almost very atypical or rather typical of like what you would think of like a little wizard's tower, but very small. So like 3 story tall, little bitty tower, and then the path Ys around it.
Is there an apparent door?
There is.
We should investigate this. Fancy goes up to the tower to see if he can figure out a way to climb the outside of it. Maybe perhaps not noticing the door. Just kind of looking around, trying to get his footing.
It mostly is just kind of straight up sides. It's not impossible to climb, but there is, effectively some kind of stonework or sort of thing where it's constructed, but it is not constructed in a way where it's like these like big rocks that stick out to the side. That would be something that would be reasonable to climb. It'd be like trying to climb the side of a brick building.
Okay. I'd have to have some good skill. I used to study climbing though, so Fancy attempts to climb up maybe about 10 feet of the structure.
With your bare hands?
Yeah. Just
Tools? Or,
no,
How
nothing.
how high is it?
He just tries to go about 10 feet up.
It's like like 3 stories, but they're like the big, long, elongated stories. So it's not like.
Yeah, I'll watch him try to climb while I dig in my bag.
All right, roll athletics check, Fancy. Something that is quite difficult. You try to put like just the very tips of your fingers like in some of like what would be the mortar between bricks or between placements to see if you can just with your fingertips kind of lift your body, and that is something far beyond your not
I think we're
without
gonna have to
some
find a different
assistance.
way in here. This is unclimbable.
Oh, is it? Seems like you don't know things. I pull out my rope of climbing, and I just tell it to go up and fasten itself.
Okay, yeah, and it obeys. It is a magical item. That's its function.
Fancy walks around to where the door
And
is.
I tell it to form knots on itself, and then
Yeah, and
here you go, Fancy. It should be easier now.
Hold on, there's
Yes.
a door over
Done
here.
with your pissing contest now?
What are you talking about? Do you have a good idea? Something to add here, Armaros?
I think that's obvious. There's a door.
Yeah, I'm checking it out right
I
now.
would like to investigate just around the door. Do I see recent footsteps, anything like that?
Go ahead and roll investigation.
I don't
I
see
misunderstood.
shit.
It was
And Fancy wants to listen at the door.
It's just like a tiny little couple of like steps up onto like a little bit of a platform right before the door. There's no indication of any comings or goings.
Hey, Armaros, do you remember anything about the fortune tellers? Like, did they tell us to like stay on the path or anything like that?
I mean, it tells us to turn towards the Crypt of Sorrows, a structure of solemn stone where shadows cling like cloaks. It is said that those who listen closely can hear the echoes of the dead offering guidance.
I tried to listen. I didn't hear anything.
Drink more Ovaltine.
No. 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 Fancy is definitely creeping up the stairs and listening at the door as if there was some sort of adultery going on inside.
It was more of a kneeling at the, like, in respect and more like kind of
Please tell me that was a roll for adultery.
sort of like trying to become one with nature, like a druidy, like fingers sort of in the dirt, like
Doing
listening by like expanding my consciousness.
doing like the Native American tracker
Yeah.
kind of thing. Um, the most of the natural surroundings are mostly overpowered by the storm that is impending. It is the clouds overhead look as though they could let loose at any time, and the wind is starting to pick up, and there is definitely distant like thunder, but it's weird because normally like a storm moves in a particular direction, and it's like moved across a front, something like this. But there's almost like a panoramic thunder, as though the thunder is a circle in the distance that's coming closer in every direction.
Sorry, Riv has a phone call we have to answer.
Oh yeah, no worries. As far as listening at the door, you hear what sounds like the voice of a very raspy, wispy version of what would sound like grizzled old man ranting.
Oh, I can hear an old man ranting.
It's what it sounds like. You can't hear words, but you can hear like pretty much something that sounds just like that. Is every now and then you'll hear something like like a mild crash, or it's like something thrown across the room, crashing into something, and it's almost like the Charlie Brown parents' version of if it was sounded like some kind of frantic or otherwise emotionally charged rant.
I turn around to the others and I say, "It sounds like someone is in there." Fancy tries to open the door.
Try knocking.
As you reach for the door, like it is like a standard door with like the little oval piece at the top, so it's not like a square door, but like it's rectangle up to the top, where it's got just kind of a oval on the top. Um, and as you reach for what would be like the handle, the your hand gets like 4 inches away from the handle, and the door just opens on its own, slowly, even with like a little bit of a creak. It opens like 2 feet.
Fancy says, "Hello? Can hello?
Where is this dastard thing? I gotta get out of here.
Somebody's stuck in here, guys. Can I see inside the room yet?"
As the door opens, it's just a couple feet wide, so you can kind of see a sliver in. It's a well lit space. It looks like uh, the big fancy houses that have the libraries with the ladders that roll around on them. So one of those sorts of kind of rooms where you have these really tall ceilings with bookcases that span 15 feet or more into the air, and just stacks and stacks and stacks of books cluttering every bit of space except for these tiny little walkways. So it's like a wizard's version of hoarders.
Okay. Do you need some help?
I must find it! I must find it! We'll not be safe. I won't be safe. We won't be able to pass. I must find it.
What are you looking for?
My research! The research is missing. A thief has stolen a piece. Important piece.
Oh, maybe I can help. I have a band of heroes with me.
Heroes.
Hello?
Hello? The tone changes very starkly as what seemed like a rant that was directionless now seems to be. The communication seems to actually be at you now. And the tone changes from some kind of like this erratic to like this really low, deep, not sinister, but off putting. Yes.
Are you
What
in?
heroes?
Well, you're speaking with Fancy the Bard, one of the world famous, I guess probably the most world famous bard in existence. You've probably heard of me. And I've brought along my companions, who are all heroes in their own right, though not quite as great as I am.
A cover. A ruse. Or truth. Who beyond the door could be of help or of hurt? Are you thieves? Did you steal it?
You're only here to help. If you don't need help, then guess we can be on our way.
But can you? Can you help? Or can you be on your way?
I haven't gone inside yet. Is that correct, Rad? I'm just
Correct.
peering inside. Yeah.
Correct.
I think I can be on my way. I turn around to check for the others.
um, the others standing about, kind of still on the path, or um, on the grounds right outside of the little step up into the stoop that's in front of the door. You're the only one standing on the little platform, the little thing there.
Also, can we hear this conversation?
Beyond just beyond the door, all you hear is, like I said, that Charlie Brown,
Okay.
ranting, whatever. Fancy at the door with the door open is the only one that actually hears words. Something about either proximity or something of maybe just the fact that he's right there. Something changes from the stoop to the outside.
Don't provoke him, Fancy.
But we can hear what Fancy is saying.
Yes.
Fancy, who you talking to?
There's somebody in here who's lost
What-
something. Someone stole something.
What are you? Yes. Remember the lady with the child? Yeah. You're gonna learn a lesson. We're gonna repeat the lesson.
You're making me sad, Mr. Bunnyman. Making me sad.
Tell him he can cross over. He just needs to go to the light.
Catch on to the other side.
Fancy turns around. He's like, "That's a good idea. You can just cross over, you know."
I can't go. It's not safe. It's not safe. It's not safe.
Why isn't it safe?
Guys, why do we let him do this?
The frantic again turns to the more targeted form of speech. There's definitely two different modes. There's this it's like almost, if you would, canned version of of phrases and things that are being said about whatever he's frantic or mad about, and that's done with a certain energy and tone. And then there's this kind of much darker tone when he talks to you directly. Um, oh, you know. Everyone knows it's not safe. A ruse? A trick? Are you helped?
Fancy, we don't know what you're talking to. It sounds like you're talking to yourself.
Or are you hurt? Help or hurt?
We're helpful. We
But
could definitely help you.
are
Should we come in?
Can you help? Can you come in?
I think we can come in. Hey guys, he wants us to come in. Fancy turns around and with full confidence waves everybody to come up. Come on, he wants us to come in.
So I'd like Fancy to roll perception
Okay.
because I'm attempting to do something with a rope,
Okay.
and I want to know if he sees a rope. He would see a rope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fancy, would you react to a rope coming towards you?
No, he would think that that's a good idea. Like if you wanted to like,
Oh, okay. It wraps around
tie
his
him.
leg and I yank him away.
Oh
Okay.
no, that's not what he thought you were gonna do.
Guys.
Roll an athletics check, Weldon. So Fancy let the rope happen around him, and then he's gonna get yanked nowhere. It's like a tug on your ankles.
Wow.
That's where I belong. Now this is feeling like we're on the right
Now,
track.
now,
It's
now,
like my wife trying to push me around or something.
Fancy thought that's a little tight, and then he goes in because he thinks that you're putting the rope there to be able to like, so in case anything weird happens, he can get out easily. So Fancy steps inside.
As you go to cross the threshold of the doorway, you bung right off an invisible wall.
What is happening here? Hello?
Hello.
We can't get in. You have to open the
Can
door
you
wider.
get in?
Fancy, if he doesn't want us in, maybe we should carry along our path.
Can you help? Can you get in?
Okay, Fancy's confused, so he's gonna walk back down the stairs and untie the rope from his.
Are you?
Bung! You hit an invisible wall and you go to step off the platform.
And the guys, everybody sees me like bong off the
Walk
thing.
into a wall.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Hmm.
It's like someone running into a glass door,
And I put my rope away.
Yeah, the rope went into the space, left the space. Nope, no problem.
Fancy goes back to the door. It seems. Do you know anything about this barrier out here?
Can you leave?
I don't seem to be able to leave. You want to come out here and help me?
I must find it. I must find it. And then you hear like a crash. It's like a book goes flying across the room, and like crashes against a wall. Where is it? Did they hide it? Have they stolen it?
Fancy attempts more carefully to go inside. If there's a wall there, like can he just feel it like a mime in his box kind of thing?
You are a mime in a box.
Okay. Well, I spent some time in my mime box trying to find out what the dimensions are.
Fancy, stop playing games.
It looks as though it is the exact space of the stoop the platform stoop you're standing on. There is a top, at least top insides to said invisible box.
Oh, it has a I can feel the top of it even.
Mm-hmm. It's about like the
The
apex of the
door.
door, the curve. Yep, about
Hmm.
there over.
Fancy turns to the group and says, "I think I may have messed up. Uh, I investigate. I want to try to see if I can find any other details about how to something, anything."
You can see slightly into the room still, and like so that view hasn't changed. It's just books on books on books, scrolls, that sort of thing. And then you're kind of essentially on like a little concrete pad that's a couple of steps up from the surrounding grass and outside area, and it looks pretty smooth on the bottom, and then invisible walls around you.
Hmm. If I guess Fancy goes back to the door and says, "Did you trap me here?
Can you help? Can
We
you
can.
leave?
We.
Did
I
you
can.
steal zip?
I didn't steal anything, and we're here to help. So, you want to come out and talk about it?"
Fancy, why are you stealing shit?
I didn't steal anything.
Roll a persuasion check.
Oh, you got this.
You didn't steal it. You say you didn't. You didn't. You say you can't leave. You can't leave. But where is it? Where can it be found?
I'm
It
pretty good at
must be
finding
found.
things.
The research is important. How to survive. To cut through the Shadowfell. To survive. For safety.
Well, we also want to survive. Oh, we could probably help you if you just let us in.
You can help. You can help. It isn't in. I would have found it if it was in. The thieves have taken it. Away, away, out. Somehow, somehow they can. But I cannot.
I see. Um, is this your uh magic blocking me from leaving, or is it something else?
Can you leave? Can you?
Yes. Yes, I'm leaving now. We're gonna go look for the guys that stole this thing from you. The research. So Fancy attempts to leave confidently this time.
You walk right out.
So Fancy tries to explain to them that there's some guy in there that's lost something, some kind of research that's going to make him safe from the Shadowfell, and some people have stole it, and we got to get it back. Really, it's as simple as that.
Sounds like you gotta get it back.
I mean, what is it? So like,
It's
what
the
are we even
research.
looking for?
It's
What is it?
it's really just the research about. I didn't get all the details. He was a little bit
Was there
cryptic.
some beleaguered spiritual woman in there weeping over something she has lost?
It was way different this time. Wow. I mean, I get what you're saying, but it was different. This guy was old, and he lost some research.
So he had you trapped there for a minute, unless you were just practicing your miming.
I wasn't practicing miming. There was definitely something there, but I overcame it with my mind. A
Yeah.
steel trap. Taps himself on the forehead.
Is this where we want to spend our day?
Well, it's not here anyway. We have to go forward to find whatever was lost. So when we find it, we can come back here, and then we'll be safe from crossing over.
Do you happen to pick up any more details on what it actually is?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
We come
it's the
Could
across
you
something,
research.
we'll get
elaborate
back.
on that?
Yeah, it's the research that
The
he's lost.
research.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's a book because the whole thing was filled with books. I don't know if you guys could see, but there were so many books and boxes and things all over the floor and stacks of things and papers. It was crazy. So I'm assuming it's a book or a stack of papers, something like that. Okay? All right, well, let's go. Fancy starts down the path again. We have to find these thieves.
Which
Right.
What did you say, Wolfen?
Which path? Dradson?
Yeah,
Oh,
I asked which path. It lies right at this tower.
I
And it
think
lies
Fancy
around
chose
it.
left arbitrarily. He didn't even remember the right path existed. Guys?
I was looking towards Armaros.
And no one has moved.
Armaros has kind of been helping guide us so far.
Well, which one leads towards the mausoleum?
They both Y off and twist and back and forth, and some go left and then curl back around, and in some places off your vision in both directions. They both look like in some way they lead towards the castle at the center of the labyrinth.
All right, I had to answer a phone call. Did I hear anything with my druidy widening of my consciousness?
The main thing was that the storm was not a front moving across, but a circle moving in.
Interesting. Because it said the echoes of the dead offer guidance, so.
Fancy's still looking puzzled at the rest of the group. Is this not the right way to go? I mean, if this isn't the right way, we can always turn around, guys. But I think we should make some progress because that storm is coming.
I'm not really sure which way to go.
If you want, I can go ask for directions again, but that guy's a little bit cryptic. I'm not sure that he knows which way. And
Well, if I remember correctly, it was take a turn at the tree and keep going towards what looks like a crypt
The
of sorrows.
crypt. Right, but if both ways lead towards the crypt, then,
okay, fine. I will go back and ask.
Oh boy.
If I get trapped in a box again,
Will your way out.
yeah, that's right. That's what happened. Okay. So Fancy goes back up the stairs to the doorway.
There is no like, so when you get to the stoop piece, you walk right past what the outer barrier would have been when you were inside the box with no trouble. When you
Okay.
go up to the doorway, are you trying to go in? Are you trying to? What are you doing when you get to the doorway?
Is the door closed again?
It's still open.
Okay. I just call out at the door and I say, "Are you still there?"
Help?
Yeah, we're trying to help, but the guys, I thought we should go left out here, but they're not following me, and I am the leader, of course, but they just want some reassurance that left is the way to get to the mausoleum.
You want to go? You can help. You
Is it?
will help.
Yeah, we're gonna help. So, is it left or right?
Yes. You
Guys, he
will
says it's
help.
either one. What?
Yes. You will help. Yes.
We're gonna help.
Yes.
Uh,
Find.
he says it's
The
to the left.
research.
I don't know how, how it works.
That would be. What is the perception? What is the perception?
To see if he was like if the guy actually said left or if he's just pulling stuff out of his ass like he does all the time.
Roll insight. Seems like he said left. Off the stoop, you can't hear the words he says, so you have to go with your confidence in Fancy.
Oh
I don't
boy.
have any
Now stop.
confidence in Fancy. I have been with you the longest. I know you the best out of anybody here. I don't have any confidence in you.
All right. Well, that's that. So Fancy tries to leave the stoop again with confidence. It's to the left.
And you hop off the fence, or I mean, off the stoop, just down the steps as unhindered, just as though nothing was there.
Val, do you have any insight into this? Whispering to Val.
I think perhaps we should follow Fancy's lead.
Ah, blind luck. Let's go with it.
Start walking down the left path, and people follow.
Yeah. Been
Yep,
learning
Fancy
to
first.
trust. I've been learning to trust Fancy's instincts.
Tra-la-la, a couple 100 feet past the tower.
Okay, we're gonna
as
die.
it starts to wind left and right, bung! Fancy bounces off an invisible wall.
You doing your mind thing again?
I'm not sure what that was.
What happened, Fancy?
Fancy
Explain it to me.
Fancy puts his 2 fingers on his temple, tries to concentrate really hard, and then like covers his face with his hand, and then tries to walk through that area again.
It is solid and smooth.
Hmm.
And curved.
And it's going to lead us off the path if we follow it. Fancy wants to put his hands on it and kind of mime around, trying to feel to the edges of the path and see what's happening on like is it like with the path, or does it allow me to exit the path if I wanted to? I don't exit. I just like feel it.
Yeah, the wall seems to the invisible barrier seems to extend beyond the path in directions, and you can tell that it's not like if you put your hand on it and you move it from side to side, that there's a slight arc.
We see the building behind us still.
Mm-hmm. It's only a couple 100 feet away. I mean, the perceptions have not yet changed.
Okay.
Not in the immediate surrounding.
Okay, fine. He didn't say left. He's probably lying. I was lying. Okay, let's go the other way. Fancy goes back to the other path.
And you go right. You go down the right path.
Yes.
The path again winds a little as it goes. Sometimes it like switchbacks a little bit. But you go another couple 100 feet. Bong! Invisible barrier.
Also, slightly curved, maybe like we're in a sphere or something.
That seems reasonable.
All right, I'm going to talk to the crazy old man.
I'll go with you. I already know him.
We're pals.
We've had 2 conversations. We are the best of friends.
I do just to do it just to be sure. Before I turn around, I put my hand out and try to touch the barrier where I think the barrier is from where Fancy fell face forward into it.
There isn't one.
Fancy, are you tripping? Are you drunk?
Wait, you don't feel the wall there?
I just walked through where he stopped. Are you doing you doing your performance thing right now?
Fancy, you should try to go through now that he's through. Just run right into it.
I'm not running. I have to be careful. Don't want to break this nose. All right. Fancy tries to walk through
Yeah,
again.
he had to pay a lot of money for that one.
It, there is a solid barrier for you, Fancy.
I can't tell. Are you playing right now? I want to insight check him.
I try to step across the threshold
Yeah.
of what's.
And there's
Oh.
no barrier. Weldon walks through just
All right. Try to pull him through.
Wait.
Ambrose, try to pull him through.
Wait.
You're
Maybe
big and strong.
it's this pouch. Fancy pulls out his little pouch of grave dirt. And he talks to it like it's alive, and he says, "Is this your fault? Are you causing all this trouble? Fine. You're staying here." He puts it on the ground, and then he attempts to walk out.
barrier.
Not that. So he picks it up, puts it in his pocket again.
I'm really staring at him because I know he's a really good performer. I'm like, surely he would.
We don't have time for this
That's the
improv,
group.
Fancy.
If this was a performance, it would be glorious.
I mean, Fancy's good, but no, he's maybe not that good.
Only so good you can be when you're talking to dirt.
Did you piss him off? You got to be respectful.
No, we're trying to help him. I don't think I was supposed to go off the path, to be honest. I'm gonna have to think about this. Fancy sits down and like crosses his legs and gets in some kind of Zen mode. He's seen Armaros do something like this before. Think.
Can we try to carry him through?
Hold him like a battering ram and run. Sorry, I Dagan did not say that.
Are we gonna try to drag him? Are we?
No. I tried to tell them that's not gonna work. Okay. All right.
Think
Fancy
faster.
goes.
Roll an intelligence check.
Oh no. Not a save, but just a check. Okay.
See if I can.
Oh, I did not.
Oh, what? You gotta watch that 17 roll into a 7, right?
I did, yeah.
He's got no intelligence bonuses either.
Right. Okay. One more check. Do this one as a wisdom check.
I see him really trying to think, and well, I didn't get a chance to do it. Wouldn't have helped anyway.
You can help. You will help.
Yeah, we're trying. Wait, what? I can still hear him?
No,
Think you're
that's only the
remembering.
words. That's just the words that you are, for some reason, focusing on. You can't hear him anymore.
Okay, I've got it. The people that stole the thing are in this sphere with me, and I can't leave until I help him. That's it. That's what it is.
Do you see the thieves now? Are they in the room with us?
Let me see. Gonna look around here. Don't see any
Gosh.
thieves.
No, no thieves. You're the only people in for period.
Huh.
Like you don't even see any spirits in this particular area.
Um,
Nancy, did you mention that you were trapped earlier with this individual?
I did. I was trapped in a much smaller box at first, but then I just told him I was going to help, and then I was able to get out. And he said that I will help. I said I will help, and he said I will help.
It sounds like
And
you will help because you're stuck here
right,
until you do help.
so
But you were imprisoned and then you were free. What changed? How did you
I mean, I'm
walk free
pretty
of the
certain
place?
that I just willed myself out of it, because I'm having some hard time. Maybe this is farther I get, the harder it is to will. Fancy seems a little bit shaken up.
So you're trapped on the podium by two invisible walls?
3. There was a roof too. 4. 5.
Maybe your prison just expanded.
Seems to be a sphere. That's a good idea. Maybe it's expanding. Fancy goes back out to try to find out where the border is. Is it in the same place, roughly?
Same place now. Yep.
Hmm.
It has expanded, not expanding, Fancy.
What if the answer is inside the building?
I wasn't able to get in before, but I see you're right. I didn't try to go in before. He says it's not in. I'm not sure what going in is for. He said they left with it. He can't find it. He said if it was in, we'd he would be able to find it. That's why he thinks it was out.
You
We
look
still don't
around
know what it is.
in the area. You've got the paths and no other buildings, but lots of graves. That's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I go back to the beginning. I guess the doorway area, and
We'll go back with them.
I'm looking for any graves that look different than, like, I mean, we're just like not even seeing the graves because there's so many of this much the same. But are there any that look different?
Roll investigation. Natural 20. There is a small patch of graves that look as though they were done kind of like by the state, if you will. For post execution of prisoners. Those um, those graves have a name and kind of like a warning of some not vigilante justice, but some extreme levels of justice. And there is a list of crimes across many of them, from murder, extortion, theft, um, conspiracy, like lots of these different things that are listed on these different things, some of which don't seem like executable offenses, but here they are nonetheless.
Are the crimes like are the crimes like grave specific, or are they just across all of them? Like,
Yeah, there's like a name, and then like a date, and then like a list of crimes.
is there anyone that's like just theft?
There is one that is only theft.
All right, I'm gonna approach that grave. Did we
As
bring a
I,
shovel?
well, okay, as he says that, definitely, as I see him going into the grave, I would like to do a hit of divine sense, celestial fiend or undead. See if I feel any evil or being or anything around here.
You have pinged before while in the graveyard, right? We did
Yes.
at least once, and there was a very ominous both vastness and quantity of these pings in all the previous thing. The only ping that you what's the distance? Wait, so what's the distance on that? 60 feet.
I think it's 60 feet. I don't. Yeah, 60 feet.
This set of graves is like if the tower's in the northwest and the tower's in the north and the path just wise like northwest northeast, right? And then so this little set of graves is just on the other side of the path, a few rows back in southwest of the tower, and the only ping you get is from the tower, which is different in and of itself. There have been no spirits for a while, not in this vicinity. There's been no creatures, no will-o'-the-wisps, no nothing. Except for the one spirit in the tower. Or the one undead ping from the tower.
Am I getting evil from that as well?
Does it do evil?
Well, there's stuff where it's like flavor, and then it says, "Oh, this is what it actually does." So I'm not sure. It does. The presence of strong evil registers on your senses like a noxious odor. Blah 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 blah, and then it goes in and says, "Here's what the spell does: celestial fiend and undead." So
there is no. You don't get any flavor of strong evil.
It's more of a tang flavor.
Little like. Sometimes bad things are done for good reasons, kind of. Yeah, that's what that tastes like.
What killing Hitler. What were the offenses that didn't seem executable?
Think like some other like some of the other like because there's a whole bunch of these graves in this little patch here. The one that's just theft, that's a that one's a little bit of a stretch. And then there's something that's akin to tax evasion, if you will, and then there's some other things that seem more like petty crimes. Uh, uh, Barroom brawl kind of thing, or some other stuff, and all of these are executions. I mean, there are some that have petty crimes plus major crimes, and some of those major crimes probably fit a capital punishment level of bill, so maybe the little ones don't matter. But there are some that only have these little ones.
Right, I want to search around the grave. That's the one for theft only to see if there's anything left here above ground, and if not, I'm just gonna try to figure out how I can dig in here some.
What's the name of the grave? That one, the theft one.
Let me grab my list. It's not in this file. Dang it. It's more vain.
I do tell them about what either that guy's got an undead up there with him, or he's not alive. So
You're muted.
Oh, I am not.
Oh, you just weren't coming through. That's all.
Okay, sorry. What what did you say his research was on? Fancy Barnabas.
Not Barnabas. Anyway, um, it was about getting out of the Shadowfell, or maybe going in. I'm not sure.
Getting out of the Shadowfell?
Something like that.
don't know if this is something we want to release or not.
Does seem very aligned with what we were sent here to put it into to begin with.
It's very powerful. If he can just stop you, or well, it's only been you so far, but can stop you from progressing so far.
Maybe because he's the only one that's conversed with him is why he's the only one that cannot pass.
Yeah, you may be under his spell.
I'm
It may
not
just be
under
in your
a
head
spell.
that
He's not in my head. That's ridiculous.
But he's your friend, apparently.
I mean, we're not good friends, but is there anything about? Did I see anything about this grave? Yeah, I don't. Fancy thinks that maybe it's buried here. So, did we bring a shovel? I think we have to dig up this grave.
I don't think that's the right course of action. I don't think grave robbing is
it's not something I would typically do.
I-
yeah.
We're not grave robbing. We're only getting the research. I have this
You don't
feeling that
even
it's
know that
here.
it's there.
No, I don't. But sometimes I have this feeling.
Yeah, you get a feeling once and you got the clap. I mean, and I had to heal you.
Uh, that's true. Okay. Um. hmm, Trying to help. Goodness.
And maybe if you ask him what his name is, or if his
Right.
name is the name you found on the grave.
All right.
The
Should we?
rains begin to fall.
What do you
Uh-oh.
guys think? Vote on. Then we can all be held accountable for this. Are we digging this up to see if the potentially dangerous research is hidden in the grave, which seems unlikely, or what?
I won't stop you, but I can't take a part in that.
No, I think I'm with Armaros. Maybe we should go back and check to see if this guy knows somebody named Morvain. And if he does, then we come back here, we dig up this grave, we get the research, and then we get on out of here. Right? Fancy puts his hand in like he's like we're gonna have a cheer.
Here.
I just
Or
look
just
at
look
his
at him
hand.
like he's an idiot.
All right. I'm going to, as
Well, get going.
respectfully as I can, reverently, gently, cast mold earth and target of 5-foot cube of earth of the grave and lift it out.
Oh,
And
wow,
set it
that was
beside
fast.
the grave.
Oh yeah, your cantrip, so you can kind of do it
Yeah.
over and over. You can do like little bits at a time, like your archaeology
Yeah.
digging little bits.
Yep. Yeah. Very, very respectfully.
Fancy is super impressed with this. This is super cool.
Hand fancy a crowbar.
Where did you get this?
Oh,
All right, in I go.
backpack.
Fancy hops down into the thing and begins to get to work with the crowbar to open the thing. Careful to maybe he wraps his face with a handkerchief or something.
If the wood's half rotted, I doubt it's gonna smell any.
And the research, not in here, I'm assuming.
You find a flash drive.
Uh,
Yeah.
you could look under the bottom piece.
Well, yeah, I investigate. He's not averse to grave robbing. Oh,
I'm
gross.
gonna investigate, but I'm not like I'm standing off of it.
Armaros falls in during the investigation. What?
Whoa, shit. Oh, we're fighting the guy.
What's that dad laughing?
Morvain is Cthulhu.
Oh, I take it. Found it.
That book's going to be Tusk Love.
I like I don't know. As he reaches for the thing, I sort of cast shape water to like make the water form like a kind of umbrella over in like a 5-foot area, so that as the water falls, then like it drips out to the side, and then it can go like down further. Yeah.
Give me a hand out of here. We found it. This is it, I think.
Maybe let me or Weldon have a look at that.
I will cast detect magic on the page. Oh.
Give me a hand, Tegan.
Val will walk over to the side of the grave and just kind of stoop over and offer his hand.
Okay, I climb out.
Make any more friends down there, Fancy?
No, but we found it. Look at this. Whoosh.
Did you at least ask his name first?
No, he just violated him without asking.
Bardish.
He gives you a smirk.
Is
Well,
Fancy actually
Gorm
showing
does.
the piece of paper to Val?
Yeah. He shows him like, look at this. I haven't unraveled it or opened it or anything. I'm trying to keep it out of the rain.
That's why there's an umbrella.
Okay. Now, you guys tell me, why would a Mr. Morvain be buried in his junk grave with no nice clothes and this very nice piece of paper? What do you think?
I think if we are finished with the grave, I'm gonna fill it back in.
Fill it
So,
in,
you
yes.
done?
Oh,
Please
yes,
do.
of course, yes.
And we
Sorry,
should also
Mr.
make a
Morvain.
move. We cannot
I'm
stay here any
gonna
longer.
cast mold earth. My umbrella lasts for an hour.
I whisper a little. I kneel down and just whisper a little prayer to the
Fancy
newly,
gives it a big
newly earthed grave.
military salute to Morvain.
Question is, should we look at this parchment or just see if this is what
Well,
air
I'm
quotes
not sure we should
friend?
trust the guy in the tower.
I also think we shouldn't trust him because I know people that can't be trusted. So
Oh, so we should look at it.
I don't know. So
We should probably
sure.
look at the paper, yeah, before
It
we. Yes.
may be dangerous.
That's why I want Emmy and Weldon to point to you two, or Val. Maybe I should take a look at that first.
Yeah, this is not really my area of expertise. So who wants it?
Well, everything was your area of expertise.
That's not true at all.
Okay. Anyway, I cast mold earth to put the earth back in the grave.
Yep, and that operation's pretty quick. Move the earth back. It only looks slightly disturbed.
So I know Weldon was casting something on it. I don't know if the
Hey.
actual thing was ever offered to Val or not. I don't know where we're at with that.
Oh,
Yeah, you can take a look at it. We're up here all together. You can look at it if you want.
Yeah, I cast detect magic, and it looked like it had some illusionary and stuff like that.
Val will just unfurl it and see if he can understand any of the ciphering on it.
Whew, good advantage.
What do you think, Val? Is it the research? Part that's missing?
The piece that you have, from what you can tell, is about essentially, if you were to think of like from a god level of different planes of existence, that they are a tangible physical thing, like a marble, looking at a marble or looking at a bubble or something where the plane is. And this magic, the element that is described on this page is about how to cut into the outer layer of a plane of existence, specifically the Shadowfell.
Well, what do you see, Val?
This is definitely some spellcraft of something far beyond any of our ability that deals with breaking into or through the Shadowfell. You said this was a spirit you talked to that was wanting this?
Fancy didn't know it was a spirit. I mentioned there's something undead in that tower.
It was just an old man. He was locked in there, and he was trying to find his research, and he can't get out.
Can't get out of what? Can't get out of this realm, or can't get out of the tower? Because
I'm assuming he's just locked in the tower. That's all I know.
I don't buy it.
I believe. See, I don't know how much I would actually know. Wouldn't know much. I'm just going to assume slicing through layers of reality with planes is bad, and would not be something we would want some undead creature to be able to do.
So you don't think we should return this to the man that needs it?
A lot of bad people need a lot of things to follow through their plans. His level of need is not what is important here.
Well, we're going to need some shelter pretty soon. This is getting hard to manage out here.
Well, there is a little tower back
Insufferable.
there, but there's not a lot of room inside, I have to admit. Filled with books and scrolls and stuff.
Although, what knowledge we might find if we could read some of the books.
You think it's time we all meet this man, undead, spirit, potential voice?
Yes, we should
No.
return the scroll.
I don't think we have much of an option since Fancy can only go so far with us if we try to leave. I do worry whatever vex that is put on him is going to be put on all of us, but
Although leaving him stuck in a sphere in the pouring down rain has some appeal.
Hey, hey,
does-
hey, hey,
it
hey.
does.
At least you won't be lonely.
Builds character, Fancy. I've been thinking of
This
song.
might be, perhaps we could glean the alignment of this individual. Maybe we could make a friend in regards to stopping what we came here to stop if this is his actual research.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking, Val. That is exactly what I'm thinking.
We should not. We
Val,
should,
maybe you should lead the conversation since you know more about the research.
What are you
potential.
talking about, Armoros? I am the mouth of this party. I think I should be the one that...
We need less talking.
Yes, you do have the biggest mouth of this party.
Well, let's make way. We
All right, let's go. I'm
let's
with
not
you. I'm
immediately
with you,
give up that
Weldon.
we have this either.
Yes.
What do you mean? Fancy starts walking quickly, trying to be in the front. Not running, but just walking
Something
quickly.
tells me he may know, but we won't offer it right out.
Who
Something
has
tells me.
Val.
it? To be very clear.
Currently, Val has
still
it.
has it.
And I'm thinking of gagging and tying up Fancy. For no reason.
I think
see.
he'll know that we have it anyways, because if he knew where it was, that's why the sphere was where it was, right? Like, he already knew it was within the sphere.
Same.
I think he'll know.
What'd you say to Fancy? Say little, hear much.
Yes.
I believe so.
I believe we are.
Amy has just been falling around like this is like some kind of drama TV show. Like I can't figure out what exactly is going on.
Peeking behind
So
legs
she
and
just kind of
shit.
just follows along. She's not really getting the purpose of this. So
This is a big waste of
By
time.
the way,
What are
the
you doing?
umbrella follows us.
Val's on the walk over, just gonna curl up the piece of parchment and kind of tuck it in his cloak.
Fancy goes over to knock on the door again. Yep.
When you knock, like you just kind of rasp your knuckles a little, and then each one is like a boom, boom, boom. Even though that's not at all relational to what you actually did. So, like,
Val's gonna clear his throat, stand right next to you, look at you. Subtle,
Hey, I didn't do that. That was a gentle knock.
obviously.
Sometimes I don't
Fancy.
know my own strength. Fancy kind of massages his bicep. I think we found it. The research. Is it just one page? Because that's all we found, I think.
You really put the B in subtle.
I might actually accidentally light him on fire.
I think that's come to terms. Nothing to be worried about there anymore. Want to come out and have a chat with us and talk through this research finding thing?
Morvain. Do you know him? Fancy looks at Val expectantly.
Can you give us some answers? And can you talk to us face to face?
Fancy wants to push on the door. You said it opened just a little, right? No, no, I'm not trying to cross. I'm just pushing. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
I try to pass my hand through the wall.
Hey Val, why don't you try it?
Like I hit the wall.
Val's going to attempt to just stick a toe up and push the door open. Well, we can here, pal, but looks like we may not. So, unless you're gonna,
I mean, we can burn it.
We're not burning it. It's ridiculous. Where's Weldon?
Where do you want us to put it?
He wants us to put it in the doorway. I mean, what could it hurt? It's just an old scroll. Fancy looks at Val expectingly.
This is something Fancy instigated. It's gonna go well.
So, who are you?
Which name did you go by before?
All we have is Teacher of Morvain.
yeah, good job on that, by the way.
Don't piss him off.
Yeah, we should totally piss him off. I didn't say that though. Can you tell us who you are?
You guys are making this too complicated. Just give him the scroll, and then we're set. And we go about our business. We take our little cool umbrella, walk down the left path.
Well, Dagan, what do you say? I think this is causing more catastrophe than we've been here to solve.
I think this could cause a big catastrophe.
I mean, he's a spirit. What can he do with research? Can I don't know. I can hear his voice now, so I can judge or gauge his intent. Like what he wants.
I say we help him.
But if he, I mean, if he's a spirit, then his only way to leave This is not going to be through a portal or breaking through a realm. It's going to be like he's already dead.
I'm leaning to agree with you two, plus the fact that whatever this travesty was of this thief happened however long ago doesn't seem to align with anything we're here to fix his recent troubles.
I would say, I think just give him the paper and give him the piece of, I don't know, piece that his soul needs so that it can move on. I mean,
Val's
right?
gonna take the paper out of his cloak and kind of hold it up questioningly towards Dagon, right in front of the door.
Not gonna stop you.
I'll do it.
Val
I'll
just
do it.
shrugs and flicks the paper in through the door crack.
Oh, flip. Problem solved. We are problem solvers. High five, Armaros. High five. Problem solvers. Eh? Me and you, buddy.
Looking for it.
Emmy just can't see over everybody else's shoulders.
Yeah, still lost.
Still lost. Not lost, just not caring.
As you look around, like behind you, the graves where those executions were taking place are gone. The uh, the path wise around what looks to be uh, one little like sectioned off with like a little bitty fence, like one single grave with a gravestone that says Alarian Starfire, beloved teacher. Um, and the path wise back around, it kind of goes off and switchbacks, but instead of kind of going in either direction forever or off on, it comes back together into a single path.
Could you type that name out? Sorry, I didn't mean to duplicate that.
Where we are is like where the paths come back together, or we can just see they come back together like later. I think we have our path now. And some actually, you know what? I think I can make another umbrella, because I can have, I think, 2 instances of animated shapes. Yeah, I like 2 right beside each other. And before what I was thinking was like the first one I sort of like animated it to follow Fancy. So I'll just animate this one and like tell it to follow Weldon, because You know, he probably doesn't want to get his fur wet. And then it's 5-foot, like, cube-ish shape. So multiple people can kind of walk under each one, I think. To at least stay semi-dry.
You would have kind of be on the outer edge of a, the big estate's grounds, being able to look at this giant cathedral. Was one little outbuilding. It looks like a tiny crypt, tiny mausoleum, that usually maybe for like one family or something like that, that's got, space for 10 to 20 different graves in it, in the one little stone building.
Oh, maybe this is the Crypt of Sorrows. Is the crest is like on the crypt thing or just in the air? Oh, okay. Sword pointing to anything? Oh,
Sorry, I don't know if I understand. Is this a statue or something?
no, it's a spirit
Spirit, okay.
of corporeal form.
Oh, well, we should talk to him. I approach. Fancy approaches.
The head turns a little to look, just to kind of keep you in perception as he continues his movements as you approach. Most of him stock still, sword stock still, in that kind of defying physics way, off directly out to his side, while his other hand is tracing this family crest on the door.
Hello there. Spirit?
Yes. And just shakes his head.
You can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Are you too troubled?
Definitely.
He's special.
We're, well, I'm Fancy the Bard, and these are my ragtag group of adventurers with me. Heroes. And, we're saving the world. Just saving. And
Attempting
you?
to save.
What are you doing?
Who wronged you, Sir Knight?
Those that you would trust one's true blood, one's true faith.
Your family. Tragic. What's the family name? Can we read it? Or is it just the crest? There's no name.
It's just the crest, and it is a shield with stars in, like it's like a shield in 4 quadrants, and then it's stars, and moon is a different quadrant, and then there is a stag and an oak. So there's like stars in the top left, moon in the top right, stag in the bottom left, oak in the bottom right. All are
Nope.
usually like the sigil. Like those are typically fought over emblems to be allowed to have on your family crest, and so it's very rare for someone to be able to have many of them, near as much all of them.
No relation to any Alarian Starfire, right? I mean, we just happened to run into this other guy today.
Valerian Starfire. No, I do not know this name. I have no qualms with this name.
Are you able to find your vengeance, or are you still seeking it?
Why should they rest in peace while I linger in sorrow and suffering and anger?
You want us to like wake him up or something?
Anger only hurts ourselves.
We could open this tomb up, Amaros. Do your little earthy move thing.
A, it's a crypt, and B, I mean, you can choose the path of vengeance, but I too have been wronged by my family as well, and the path of vengeance doesn't bring peace. Peace is something you have to choose just for yourself.
Don't mind him. He's really a kind of a flowery guy, you know? If you want vengeance, you can have vengeance. Maybe we can help you.
I mean, my family tried to murder me in a ritual sacrifice, so, and they cursed me. They tried. Yeah, I managed to escape, but that doesn't change their intent. I could easily be angry and want revenge. They still drove me away from my home and put a curse on me.
Honestly, I'd be pissed. Amaros, I mean,
I think
I get it.
that you can still accept that your path was not kind or just, and accept that peace can still be yours. I mean, just because you can't change your physical fate or other people's physical fate or spiritual fate, you can only choose your own. You accept the fate that the gods gave you and allow their actions to speak for themselves and judge themselves.
He hasn't let go of the sword or changed the position of the sword.
Do I know enough about, like, I don't know, I guess it would be religion, or maybe I just have to persuade him that he can. That it's just a choice. That it's intrinsic to his soul to still be able to change. Do I know if it's possible or not, or am I No. Yeah, but I believe that the soul is malleable always, I guess. So my religion, from my experience, I believe that it's possible, that it's not an I can't. It's all a matter of mind over matter. You don't have any matter anymore, so the mind should be easier to change. If you believed, then it could. If you believe that it can.
So instead of focusing on what you cannot do, what can you do?
You can't let go of the sword? Have you tried let going of the sword? Looks pretty heavy.
Well, we could try to help you know. Do you have any questions of us? You may have been here a long time.
Yeah, I mean, we can tell you where
With
you are.
with vengeance being an act of the past. Um, Therefore, this is a time where vengeance may already have come upon those who wronged you. Mm-hmm.
In the crypt. They're there in the crypt.
Mm-hmm.
Carry your own shackles. There's nothing left here for you to do.
Do you need us to help you go on? Can we help? I don't really know anything about the spirit world. I'm still curious. You can't let go of the sword? What is the sword pointing at? We weren't able to determine if it's pointing at something.
Not pointing at anything.
To make sure, the sword's like then the sword is then floating in a way. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, but if it's either stabbing in the ground or it's not pointing anywhere, right? Like, it's if it's, you know what I'm saying? My confusion is the orientation of the sword, right? So it's not sticking into the ground. Okay. So the sword itself is levitating and he cannot move it currently. Or let go. Okay. Yeah.
Is the sword in any kind of way tangible to us? Like, if I pulled out my rapier, can I tap the sword?
Yeah.
What did they make you do? No, your good was your triumph. You fought evil. You fought the worst kind of evil. You fought the evil that you loved. No one can take all evil out. But you did some. They're not your fault. You did try.
Evil will always exist. It's not up to only one of us to stop it. Try something. I'm gonna gather up some dirt and some leaves and put it in my herbalism kit. I'm assuming it's like a mortar and pestle, and put some holy water in it and mix it up, and then perform like a ritual. And like I'm gonna approach him, and if I can touch him, I want to kind of like Rafiki spread the stuff on his forehead and on the backs of his hands while like summoning the Mother Earth to relieve him of his sorrows and his hurt, and to give him peace.
Could I maybe assist in that so she can get another die roll?
Yeah, I don't even know. Maybe, like,
I think that I will allow that you to do your wisdom and him assisting you.
okay. So, just a check ability wisdom roll, or
Can I give my insight so she gets a plus?
Ingenuity or whatever.
Yeah, flash of genius.
okay, so advantage and then the wisdom roll under the abilities. Oh, plus.
Yes, and then you'll get a plus. Emmy,
Yeah.
what is that? And
My
adds your
+4.
+4. Yep.
Okay.
I had rolled just before you had. to see what might happen. I'm gonna put it in.
Again? What the heck?
Is that the really, really high for something bad not to happen again, also? Okay.
Oh my
Simone.
god!
Who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters?
That was awful. I think we should have just killed him and set him free. I don't know what you guys did to make him leave.
Fancy, you are inconsistent.
What?
One spirit is a
He's
friend. One is
just
not.
hungry. He's very cranky
Oh,
right now. It's
okay.
wet.
Hey, I bet I've got a carrot for you, Fancy.
And I'm going
I
to
don't like
say
the way that you said that.
Dagan laughs at that heartily.
The as you kind of look around, the spirit has faded. and so too has the little crypt with the crest, with the family crest on it. And then again, the path continues on up to the main door of the large cathedral.
Well, let's go then. This is out of character, but Fancy hates it when he's not the solution to any problem. When the party solves it, and if Fancy wasn't like leading it, it's just not the right solution. He did it wrong or something like that.
Structure, so just a reminder of what we're looking at. This is the final view as you make your last steps up towards the entrance, and that's where we're going to go on break, and we'll come back.
It's like emo Disney World.
Okay, so we're back from our break. We were approaching the mausoleum into this open doorway. Once you get inside, there is a monumental amount of stained glass on the opposite end of the doorway from the entryway. It is breathtaking in its eeriness and beauty. Like,
Out of character, is this an AI generated picture?
The other one was. Actually, I think this one might be. I don't know. I don't know if this one is or isn't. It surely is, because I don't know any. I can't think of any cathedrals that look like this, because if they did, I'd probably know about it. Because I like the look of this stuff. It might not be AI generated, it might be drawn. I mean, it might not be real, I guess, is the way I'd say. It might be something someone actually drew.
Some of the angles look a little bubbly, the wrong. Like some of the glass looks like it's bubbled out in like a weird way.
Could be.
You're an AI.
It won't be long, and I'll wish I was. The opposite end of the entrance still looks quite pristine. But on this end of the entrance, there is a significant amount of like you know that there are hallways. Like, you can look at the outside and you can see that there are like hallways that go over to other towers and other big parts that aren't just this main piece. But it looks like a lot of those hallways have not just been boarded up, but like bricked up, like where they are now solid walls right on the inside. The leading up to that section that we can't see, where all the pews are forward and the big altar at the front, there is a long hall of different statues of kings and queens that line both sides of that main hall that leads up to this kind of worship area in the front. The air in here feels a little stagnant, and then there is a definite and prominent stench of decay. Outside, the ghosts have that white, translucent-y, wispy, in and out of existence form. In here, there's definitely some kind of spiritual presence, but rather than that white ethereal form, it's like dark shadows that seem to kind of fade in and out, and fade into the walls and out of the walls, and that sort of thing. The walls themselves have that purple coloration that you remember from seeing down in the garrison underneath the temple in the desert. They have begun to take upon that nebula-looking dark purple and blue and black, swirly kind of shadow overtaking visibility to them. There are in between each of the statues of the kings is a vertical arrangement of many layers of like crypts that are in the wall that stack one on top of the other on top of the other. So there's like statue of a king, and then like 2 or 3 wide of crypt drawers, if you will, and then there's like 10 layers of them stacked one on top of the other as you move forward.
The width of those drawers, is it like they're sideways, or like they're end, like the
Long,
size of the crypt would be like the feet?
The feet,
Or
yeah,
like,
yeah. So it's
yeah,
like in down in the morgue or whatever. They put them on
Okay,
drawers
yeah,
and
yeah.
pull them out or whatever, like something akin to that. So there's 2 or
Okay.
3 of those wide and stacked many tall, in between each of the statues. It does look like many of those are broken, and broken, it looks like, from the inside, where they have been broken open and off, like as though that they were like busting out hinges and things or something like that from the inside outward. There's a couple of doors scattered about on the ground and busted off places where the hinges are, stuff like that, for these doors that go into where each individual crypt is. The altar at the very back, behind where the stained glass, in the pristine stained glass area, is radiating purple energy. Like you can see, almost like the sun coming off the radiation, the heat radiation coming off asphalt. But it has a purple hue to it, coming around from all directions, and right emblazoned on the very front of that altar is a giant sunburst.
Well, looks like we found it. Are we going?
You just want to send Fancy in and we'll take a rest?
Yeah. Red Rivers, and fancy Red River.
I mean, but if I find any treasure in here, I get first choice.
I mean, it's just a sun with radiant energy, like, surrounding the altar, but there's not a portal that we can see, right? Like in the...
Oh yeah, no. There is the altar. It's a little hard to like. The picture doesn't really do justice to what I have pictured in my head, and maybe even some of perception as well. But like, the altar is some significant number of feet out in front of that back wall, way out in front, as it's been kind of like erected in the front, directly in front of where all the pews are and stuff, and then there's some space behind it. Um, but other than that, like all the door, like what you think should be where doors into hallways and to the sides and stuff have been, are now smoothed over stone that has the that purple Shadowfell infusion.
Theoretically, the portal could be behind the altar. Like, there's enough space.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
So we toss a bard. Should be on guard though. Suspect if we're alone now, we won't be for long.
Fancy calls out to the chamber, and he's like, "Hello?"
There is a reverberation, an echo, if you will, like like a cathedral, and people go in there to sing because the acoustics are um, specifically built for that, right? And so your voice carries as though megaphoned um, across the entirety of the building, but there is no response.
You do realize there's a large group of people who want us dead, and that's who we're probably going to see, right?
Yeah, but they can't. I mean, we can't kill them unless they come out, right? All right.
Bring the fight to us, tactician.
I think we should investigate the front up here, don't you think?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I think we should investigate the front. Also, it's a little bit suspicious that these things were broken out from from the inside. I suspect undead. I don't know about you
Yeah,
guys.
we should definitely investigate.
All
I
right,
don't want to
Fancy
say I agree with you, but
walks up towards the altar.
Yeah, you if you head towards, it's a pretty long hall. This is a huge building, and so I mean, it's probably as big as a couple of 100 feet from one end of the this room to the other. I mean, it's a monstrous building. And you walk along the hallway to the up to the back portion where the altar's at and the worship area, if you will, is far back. And you know your perceptions, just in your peripheries, you see the shadows going in and out of the walls in different places, and maybe certain element, like there's certain elements of it looks like you see what you think might be a face, and then you look and it's not there. A lot of really weird happenings that give that ghostly vibe that you had seen out in the graveyard, but it's all like the pitches of black of shadows, and it's already very dark in here. There's no light, really. There's the only bit of light that usually comes through is flashes of lightning through the stained glass windows, and just the fact that it's still, the ever twilight on the outside means that only like the littlest bit of light comes through these windows. You make your way down the long hall, passing the tombs and the statues of kings and queens long forgotten. As you get close, you can see that altar looks to have been placed there, not part of the original architecture of the building. Like, this is something that was erected here in recent times.
Makes sense.
Other than the glowing altar, you look around, and at surface level, you don't see anything anywhere. It's this huge room.
I want to tell everybody to be quiet and like just listen. Just listen for a minute, but watch the shadows.
in your quiet. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, if I was gonna move over to Weldon and just kind of whisper to him, what do you think it would take to destroy that altar there?
Just lit a fire.
Just a little bit.
I can shatter it, maybe.
Let's see. Arma's trying to find some kind of zen, quiet, listening, watching, looking for the shadows coming in and out. There seems to be especially as you've now traversed up and around the altar, now that you can kind of see on the other side of the altar, there's like some large structures that are kind of built in for like worship and stuff like that. They're into the wall in the very back behind this what looks to be Radiant Eclipse altar out in the middle. And there seems to be some concentration of those shadows on this part of the room.
There's concentration shadows in part of the room.
Yeah, behind the Radiant Eclipse altar, back into the very, very back, like actually against the wall. And Armoros is concentrates a lot in this area. There's it's not like they're coming out of the walls, but it's like they're going in and out of the floor.
I do remember the mention of mixing light and shadow to create portals.
Well, he also said shadows, sly and shrouded, are seldom what they seem. They are sentient. They sift and study, and occasion they strike. I want to cast Produce Flame, just like a little orb in my hand.
Okay, yeah, make a little ball of fire.
Yeah.
And when you make a little ball of fire, where are you? Where are you in relation to the very back of the room, the altar, the Radiant Eclipse altar? Where are you in relation to these things?
I figured that I was probably like up sort of beside the altar, not like super close, but like close enough that I can see the back side of it. So like on the left side, kind of facing the side of the altar, or I can see both sides of it. Like
Okay.
7
roll
feet away.
An investigation check. You make this little ball of fire, and after just a few seconds, it's there sitting in your hand for just a couple of seconds, and then it's as though the altar, the Radiant Eclipse altar, like sucks the fire out of your hand and into itself, and then it's gone. It's like, and it's in there. In the brief moment that the fire was in your hand, there was a definite reaction from some of the shadows in the area. In some way, it looks like they retreated into the walls or into the floor.
And you still got that like special lantern, magical lantern or whatever. Bring it over here.
I was gonna ask Fancy. Fancy, get your sword out.
Oh yeah, you want to make this thing glow again? Pulls
Yeah,
out
I
his
cast light
rapier.
on his sword.
Could have just cast it on my horns.
I need to see.
You have to use your words and ask.
The sword begins to glow, and then after a few seconds, the altar absorbs the light, and it is no longer glowing.
What the crap?
Maybe don't get too close to that just yet.
Hey, Emmy, you have a mirror, right, on your robe thing?
Probably. Let me look around here. I do have this handy tool set. I might have what you need.
Mirror. Just kidding. um, I want to. I don't know. Can we like? Dagan, can you channel the light in like I don't know, like a cone? I'm imagining like a flashlight beam, like a beam of light.
I believe my light. I can only like light up items.
Yeah.
Cool.
Here's the mirror. I peel the patch off.
Oh, okay. Light up something and then have Emmy use her tools and her mirror to like create a beam of light and shine it at my mirror, and I wanna shine the light at the the back of the altar.
I think this is a little bit far-fetched. Why don't we just destroy the altar?
But
Baby
this
steps.
is fun.
Well then,
Oh wait, I wanna try this
Flamethrower
first.
the altar.
I wanna try this first.
So we're bouncing some. So we're bouncing some light off of some mirrors, trying to focus it in on the altar itself, the Radiant Eclipse altar.
On the back of the well, like where the shadows are, and
Okay.
and around. Like I kind of want to move it around as much as I can. Maybe I can't because they. But I figured like if the source isn't close, then they can't absorb the source because the mirror is not actually the source of the light.
Mm-hmm.
That was
I
my
can light something up.
thinking.
I didn't think I could do something this large up to that is no larger than 10 feet in any dimension. So I can light a pretty big thing.
Right, but if it doesn't need to be a big thing. You just need to light something near you, or like your hand even, doesn't matter. And then Emmy's gonna, like, I assume she has some glass as well as a mirror, and like
Glass.
funnel the light into like a cone.
Like a prism? No, like
I have a glass
Thinking
bottle.
more like a magnifying glass is what I was thinking.
Okay,
You know, to
okay.
create like a focus the light, and then use the mirror to redirect it towards my mirror.
Can I try to take her mirror and my glass things, like snatch them from her and try to like create something real fast?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, give me your tinkering int check.
MacGyver check.
Int check. Tinker check.
Oh, yeah, it's too slow. Oh, she didn't need it. You need my guidance.
And then hit me with your tinkering dex check. You might want to put your guidance on her this time. Oh, or not.
Too quick. It's too quick.
Too fast, too fast.
You got it for
Sorry.
your next thing, though. If you gotta do something else, you are guided.
Oh right, I'm guided. Cool.
Mister will light your way.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if I assume I'm successful.
Yes, very much.
So I want to like I've got this little tool that you guys see that comes out of my sleeve and like and different tools keep coming out of my sleeve.
I
It's
dig
just
it.
like a little arc welder in there.
Yeah, just any kind of tool that I think I need, like it just comes out tweezers or whatever next, and make this little contraption that would shoot like a prism now if it had light put into it.
Well, I can light something up. Whatever you want me to light up.
Yeah, I feel like right here, and I'll hold this just right here. We'll see if this works.
Yeah, I just find some random object that's about the size to fit in whatever she's got, whatever she's cooking.
Just don't bring the source too close. I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna confuse them.
All right. We light it up and we focus the light back in the back of the room where the shadows were. Everyone in that is kind of operating here, roll an investigation check. Kind of do it a group. We'll do a group. Kind of a group thing.
That means really carrying you guys with those tweezers.
Well, I've been sitting here sketching what's happening, just so you know. I'm paying attention this time.
When the light sparks, you focus the light very intensely, kind of moving around, trying to spotlight, if you will, different shadows, and you get a sense that in a certain part in the back, kind of where some of these like other worship pieces have been built into the wall. It's not like that the shadows necessarily actually go into the wall sometimes, but it's like they get sucked up like smoke underneath it.
Like there's a passage. Like almost like you can't see anything, but you could maybe feel a draft in a way.
That the shadows are being sucked into this like a draft when the light touches them. And that's not the Radiant Eclipse altar that's sitting out front. That's something built into the wall in the back. A little worship stand. It's technically also an altar, but...
I mean, the Radiant Eclipse is searching for something, seeking for something in the graveyard. But I assume that means if they're seeking it, they haven't found it yet. Like something's fighting back against the Shadowfell.
I'm still just suspecting we're gonna get attacked by the shadow.
I mean, possibly. The enemy of my enemy is my friend? Maybe?
Maybe?
um,
I love
But
your
it didn't-
optimism.
It didn't suck the light, right? So, like, we could focus the light in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I wanna look around for, like, I don't know, a door or a hidden latch or a trapdoor, stairs underneath that go, like, down.
Yeah, do you assert your suspicions to the group, or are you just starting to go over and fiddle around?
I mean, I say, like, I think there might be something here. And I kind of quoted stuff that I was remembering from what they had said. The academic guy, I can't remember his name, had told us when we were asking him questions. So
Yeah, you know, kind of like you have through some trickeries, gain some extra knowledge of kind of what that this may exist. And so, with this extra knowledge, you fiddle around, start, looking for things, and there is indication that built into, like, this looks like it's built into the wall and floor, like, directly. But when you really get down and actually start looking at this thing in the back, it looks like that it's on, in some ways, kind of like rails, and you find a way in which you can unlock it so that it can move, and then you push against it, and it's very much like in Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, when there's a little church, and then da 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 da, and then like the bookcase in the back slides open, and then there's a passageway that leads down.
Oh, well done. Well done.
No. Good job.
You prefer medium rare?
I want to try and cast or produce flame again and see if it gets sucked in.
It does not, if you're still over by the passageway down.
Yeah. I want to have it just like hover over me, so I can see.
Yeah, and you need to like try to light up my sword again. A little impotent.
I'm not sure how many times I can really cast light's racial thing.
It's not magical, is it?
It's divine.
No, the sword.
It is magical, yeah.
No, well.
But I mean, Emmy still has her little flashlight that she made.
Well, yeah, but I also. Well, come here, Fancy.
I think it's just considered a cantrip, so I don't suppose there's any limitation on that. I just know it was added racially. I know some of those you can only do. Yeah, I think I can light your sword back up.
Excellent. Down we go.
Yep.
The staircase goes down in it, kind of straight for a bit, and then it starts to spiral down. And it's not like an open area, but you can definitely tell that it's curved and arcing around as you're going down and down. It feels like you've gone down a couple of floors.
When we first started going down, I leaned behind Fancy and go, "Can you go down?"
Can you?
You got me a little twitchy when you do that voice now.
And you go as you move down to the bottom. You, like I said, you feel like you've gone, maybe 20 feet down. Like this is quite a few set of stairs you've gone down thus far, and then it does continue to spiral. But about this point, you hear actual verbal, like a chant coming from off further down the passage.
Fancy pulls up and activates his cloak of displacement. I'm assuming it's kind of always on, but I just want to make sure. And then I want to stealthily continue.
I want to see if that is religious in nature.
Is the chant a reaction to our presence, or does it sound like it was already chanting and we just got within range of being able to hear it? I guess that's what I want to check.
In range and religious, yes. It's almost, it is not a chanting of a spell, but it is a devotion to the light and dark.
I kind of give everyone a look, like we're about to Let's get ready to fight and quiet.
To the sun and the raven.
Cast Pass Without a Trace.
Nice.
And we will stop right there.
Oh, right, without a trace.
But, with the but, we did pass a milestone, so we get to level up. So
Do we have to wait till a long rest?
If you gain new spell slots, those spell slots aren't filled until a long rest. But new, if you have to select spells, you don't have access to new spells, but any new feature, any new change in hit points, stats, feats, all that.
Are we getting any of the Dread special sauce this time?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Indeed. So,
That's- Hey, before we do that, I just want to say good session, everyone, today. Or before we do whatever we're about to do. Good job, team.
Alright. Armoros, you get a new feature called Compassionate Calm. You gain the ability once per long rest as a bonus action to gain an aura of peace, providing allies within 20 feet advantage on saving throws against fear or charm. And it can be used to give advantage to help persuade someone from particular states of mind, particularly those that are extreme states of mind.
Ooh.
If someone is extra angry, you can use them to maybe calm them down if they are.
If someone's extra fancy.
I did the level up thing and it gave
You
me
can't fix fancy.
it gave me a 5th level spell or whatever, but I didn't get to choose it. I don't know what I did wrong.
You can just manually add it.
Oh, okay.
It probably just gave you the spell slot and you have to go choose a spell yourself.
Dagon, you get what does your channel divinity do? That's the divine. Is that the divine sense? What is your channel divinity?
It gives me like the plus, like +4, something like that to my attack. I don't know if it's attack and damage, but
Okay, so this takes essence of your channel divinity. I'm just gonna. It's called Mystic Channel, and once per short rest, you may tap into this source to give an attack an advantage, or if it has if it's an attack or spell advantage, and if it's a spell that has a saving throw, you can impose disadvantage on the saving throw. So that's once per short rest. You get a 1 charge to expend to give yourself advantage on a spell or attack, or disadvantage on a saving throw to a spell or attack.
you said it was called Mystic Channel?
Mystic Channel, yep.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Enemy gets 1 additional use of Flash of Genius. It's called Gadgeteer's Reserves. You get 1 additional use of Flash of Genius, and then once per long rest, you can double the effect of one flash of genius. It represents a burst of inspiration when least expected. So one additional use of Flash of Genius, and then once per long rest you can double the effect of a Flash of Genius. Let's see. Fancy. Do you know? Let's see what. Let's see. When does your inspiration? Your bardic inspiration recharges on long rest. Oh, but yeah, you have it where it comes back on short rest. Okay. So once per short rest, you may double the effect of bardic inspiration. So normally you roll like one of your inspiration die for something, whether that's to the damage of your, like if you use a flourish, it's a damage and you get AC, or like you've got all those different abilities where you roll a bardic inspiration die for it to happen. Or if you were to
Yep.
inspire someone else, once per short rest, you can give them two at once. Like you can double the effect, so two of those die instead of one.
Okay, I don't know how to do that. Tried to add under my bardic inspiration, but that wasn't the right place to put it, I guess.
Let's see. Val, let's see. To double check that this actually works. So you have training in insight. You gain expertise in insight, so it goes from the 1 star to the double star, and then if your insight check is to sense deception or hidden motives, you get advantage on the insight. Specifically, hidden motives or deception, you get advantage on an insight check to detect those. Weldon gains Rabbit's reflexes, giving him advantage on initiative. So, is that everybody? Is that everybody, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it is everybody. Okay, yeah, one for something for everybody. Little bonuses. We've done some really cool stuff.
I like them.
Alright, now that I've given out the special level up rewards, I'm going to stop the recording, and then if you want to do anything you gotta do to level up, you can do that.